It's Impact with the Florida Star, the largest, oldest, and most read African American newspaper in Northeast Florida and South Georgia. And now, here's the host, the publisher of the award-winning Florida Star, Clara McLaughlin.
This is Opio Impact Radio from the Florida Star. I am talking to Tavis Miller. He is the founder of the West Coast Hip Hop Awards. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
All right. Hey, man, I've been knowing this brother when I was in Portland back in 2003, and he owned a record store at the time. One Love Record Store, am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into music, records, and so on.
Well, I started off in Oakland, California. I was a DJ down there for years, and to take it even further back, I used to sell tapes with Too Short on the back of the bus in Oakland. So we used to ride the N over to San Francisco with a backpack full of cassettes, and we'd be going back and forth selling tapes, and we were getting $5 a tape back then. So we was really the first ones to doing the mixtapes and doing the hip hop thing and really just taking it to the streets, and that's what Oakland was always about.
Man, I saw Too Short do an interview, and he was talking about how Oakland really looked out for him because he's from L.A., right?
Yes, he was from L.A., and then he moved to Oakland when he turned, I think it was 15 or 16 or something like that. But anyway, he came here, and he started playing. He was in a marching band in my high school, and he started, and he started doing all that, but he was always into the music. But when he got to Oakland, he seen a different lifestyle. Oakland had a different lifestyle than LA had. We didn't have the blood and crip thing, so we didn't have the red and blue thing. It was more on we had the Black Power thing going. We had the Panthers, we had pimps and hustlers and gangsters and all that, like LA, but we never had the division with the red and blue thing. So we kind of gravitated more towards the music.
Man, I remember living in San Diego and then moving to Alameda, which is the Bay Area, right across the bridge from Oakland, and thought, man, it's a total difference between L.A. and the Bay Area. The Bay Area is like laid back. The black people in the Bay Area, they'll pull your coat on things. You're right, because when you go out into the streets on a Saturday, it's like you can feel the consciousness, of the place. But it was also interesting in that, you never heard about Crips and Bloods. I never did know it, but you never did hear about Crips and Bloods in Northern California, but you definitely heard about them in Southern California. Why is it that there are no Crips and Bloods, or they are not able to survive or get a foothold in the Bay Area?
Well, the people, the powers that was in position at that time made a conscious decision not to let Oakland be like Los Angeles. Oakland always had an independent streak to it anyway. We were always independent. Like even the rappers that were in LA, they were looking to get on record labels. The artists in the Bay Area wasn't. We were trying to do our own thing, and we were always business and conscious minded up north. But I think we didn't gravitate towards it. And then when they really tried to make a push up in Oakland, they didn't like the results they were getting, so they just said, forget it. So they went to Sacramento. They went to Sacramento. They got the whole valley. They got it from LA all the way to Sacramento and Fresno and Stockton. They got all that, but they didn't get Oakland or San Francisco.
That's pretty amazing. Did you remember when Master P was out there in the Richmond area with the record store?
Yes, I remember Master P very well. He was Percy. He's a real good friend of mine, man, and he's been around. He's always been like I said, he's a businessman. He came from Louisiana to the Bay, and he was already a smart guy. So when he got there, he realized that he needed to, start a business. So he opened up his store. He had his business going, and people gravitated towards him. He was a charismatic guy, and he was doing his business. he had a little funk with CNH and them, with the Loonies and all them, because they both had a song all called The Ice Cream Man at the same time. Just an old school trivia. And so that was the little beef they had way back when. But, they squashed it, and everybody went on to make a whole bunch of money. Loonies went on with I Got Five on it, and Master P went on with his empire, and he's still one of the biggest moguls in hip-hop.
Now, tell me about Tupac.
I ran into Tupac quite a bit, and we were actually really good friends. I had a different relationship with Pac than other people had, because he was always just a cool brother. He was always conscious, and so when he came to Oakland, it was natural to him. Even though he was staying out in Marin, but he would come over to Oakland a lot, and dealing with Digital and all those underground guys and all those guys, and so but it was weird, because as he grew, he was always conscious, but he became more Hollywood, when he started getting really a lot of money. But he was still always Pac. He was still one of them cats. He was one of them cats that I call, he was one of them guys that no matter what happened, he still is right. He's one of them cats. He's always been that cat. He was headstrong. He was smart. He was an intelligent guy, and the women loved him. But I'm going to tell you an interesting story. Nobody's ever really heard this story. We was down at Lake Merritt. He had just the movie The Juice had came out. It's been out a while, and we were just standing there talking. It was me and my ex, and we were just standing there talking to him. And these kids walked up to us, like 3 of them, and they were crying. And we was trying to figure out. He was like, man, what's going on with y'all? What's the matter? And they was like, Pac, man. They was like, Pac, man, you killed everybody. He was like, what are you talking about? He was like, man, you killed everybody. He was like, man, that's the movies. He said, that ain't real. He said, man, I can call those guys. He said, man, they're not dead. We're acting. We're pretending. But after that, he gave the kids some money. They was happy, and they left, and then, whatever. It was all good, sign autographs. But he told me, he's like, man, you see how powerful the movies is? He said, man, I got to do more. That's when he really got that bug after he did that movie, just to see the reaction of people, how they gravitate towards it, and also how powerful your messages and the things that you do on film translate into real life interactions. And so that was an interesting thing, man. That was one of them stories. I ain't never told that story, but that's one of the stories that I had, and I'm gonna put in my book later on after I retire or whatever. But that was a true story. And Pac was always a good dude, and I'm really glad. I'm really sad that he's not here with us right now, man, because he's really the modern day Malcolm X.
Now, what happened when you heard that he had got shot up, or when he died? Where were you? What was your thinking? How did Oakland take it?
Oakland took it really hard, because we adopted him, because he wasn't from Oakland. Right. But he loved Oakland, because Oakland was the realest city he had ever been in. Besides Baltimore. Baltimore was a real city too. But, when he came west, Oakland was the city that he gravitated towards. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was still mourning my brother, when Pac got killed. My brother got killed a month before Pac in Oakland. And he died. He got shot and all that. So, and he was on Rap-A-Lot. He put out 3 records on Rap-A-Lot. I don't know if y'all remember Seeger and Miller, but that's my brother.
Seeger, right.
But so I was still mourning when Pac got killed. So it was a double whammy for me, And so people was like, man, I'm like, look, man, what I'm saying? I lost 2 brothers in a span of 2 months. So right now, man, I'm tearing up, because it hurts me to my core, because both those brothers were revolutionaries, and they were pro-black. They were pro-humanity, right. And they loved people, man. And they just could have really, they made impacts, and they both put in a lot of work. But man, I love to see black men grow old and wiser, and make better decisions, and keep contributing until you die natural causes. We ain't supposed to be dying of bullets.
Right. MC Hammer.
We're supposed to die old men.
MC Hammer is from the Bay Area. Talk about MC Hammer. You talk about one of the biggest to ever do it in hip hop. Is MC Hammer.
Say, man, they used to laugh at Hammer, but Hammer had the last laugh.
Right.
Because Hammer always was a good, but everybody thought Hammer was soft. Hammer was never soft. Hammer can throw them things.
Right.
He was a real good boxer and athlete. He was a real humble guy. And he used to he wasn't in the gang, but it was a gang called. We went to high school together, so I could tell you this story. But he it was called the High Street Bank Boys. So Hammer grew up on High Street, but they never let Hammer bang. They knew Hammer had talent. Hammer used to be at the Oakland A's games doing his thing, making money. Everybody knew he was a very talented guy. Everybody knew Hammer wasn't the greatest rapper, but he wasn't the worst. But he was he was the best dancer in the world after Michael. And so we all knew that he was going to take off and do good, man, and he really did, man. And he made a lot of money. He did. He made a lot of good choices. But Hammer made all that money without one cuss word.
Right.
You know, that's the difference between him and anybody else. He did all that, man. He didn't say the B word. He didn't say the N word. He didn't say none of that stuff. And he still sold 100 million records.
And he always talked about God.
And he always talked about God. He was always positive. And your grandparents and the parents could listen to Hammer.
Right.
And they dug him. And they dug him, man. So, you know, everybody talked about him. But Hammer was before his time. He did cartoons. He was the one doing the TV commercials and all that stuff before he took hip hop mainstream.
Right.
You know, and I mean the black hip hop mainstream. And we love Hammer, man. Hammer is revered. That's why I got to honor him at the West Coast Hip Hop Awards in 2017 in Oakland.
Right. Well,
it was a beautiful night.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit later about Hip Hop Awards. This is Opio. I'm speaking to Octavius Miller. Tell us a little bit about the Black Panthers in Oakland and your experience as a child growing up under that, as well as is there anything today that you can point to that's as a result of the Panthers in Oakland?
Man, the Panther movement in Oakland was a beautiful thing. You know, like when we moved to Oakland, when we came to Oakland, it was, you know, I came from Flint, Michigan. So when we came to Oakland, it was a wide awakening for me because the town that we lived in, it wasn't predominantly white. We had a black population in Flint. Flint is pretty much 70% black now. But when I came to Oakland, Oakland was almost 80% black and maybe 20%. I'll say 15% Latino and 5% white. But the city was thriving. Like when the Panthers were there, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of black people moved there from Florida, from Virginia, from Texas. They went and worked at the naval shipyards in Oakland, or they worked over in the ports in San Francisco. So a lot of people came because they had the military bases out there. So a lot of people came from the South and all these different places. So Oakland was a mixture of everybody, every ethnicity, but it was also a beautiful thing when people came. When the Panthers came around, because the police brutality started happening, it started getting really bad. You know, the policemen in Oakland were leaning on people, beating up black people, like they're doing today. But, you know, back then they wasn't shooting. They used to hit you over the head with a billy club or whatever. That was their thing. They would beat you up and, you know, take your money, or you were doing whatever, they would do that too. So when the Panthers came along, their objective was to protect the community. When they came, I was a kid, but I used to sell the newspaper. I used to sell the Black Panther newspaper. I met Huey. I met all the leaders, wow, you know, as a kid. So I was in awe with them because they were strong black men that I could look up to. You know, besides my father. You know, saying that was one of my heroes, my father. But those guys were there when your father wasn't there. They became your uncles. They became your brother. They became whatever you needed them to be. They was there because they were leaders. You know, and that's what we're missing today. But anyway, one of the programs that's still going on today was the WIC program.
Right.
You know, and that started from the Panthers. And also the free breakfast program started. I used to eat the free breakfast. So I know they started there because we couldn't get it at school.
I know during the summertime we used to have free lunch. During around noon, a truck will come by and give you free lunch. That actually all the way over on the East Coast, that came from the Black Panthers.
Exactly. And so those programs, which the government took them over and renamed them, you know, they copied them and renamed them because they didn't want to give them credit. Right. They didn't want to, you know, show that, you know, people of color can take care of themselves and find a way to feed themselves without having government assistance, you know. So the government wanted to come in because they still want to be the daddy to everybody. So that was the situation in Oakland. So they couldn't stop it. It was a movement that was growing. It was beautiful. It was organic. And so the only way they could stop it was to infiltrate it or drown it out with drugs. And that's what they did. They flooded my neighborhood with drugs, man, and guns.
Wow.
And they flooded it, man. They used to have the trains used to run back on 85th, 69th. These are all the old villages that were in the old projects that were in Oakland. So if you remember, over by the Oakland Coliseum and all that down there
Right.
was the most notorious. They wasn't notorious then. They were housing projects where people lived and people worked. And it was working class.
Mm-hmm.
When they came in to destroy the Black Panthers, they used that neighborhood to kick off the gang wars, the drug wars, and all that. So what they did, they used to park the trains, open the trains up, and there'd be guns in it. It'd be guns in it. It'd be drugs in it. They would just leave them open. So the kids would go in there and raid it and take all these drugs and guns out of these trains that the government would park in there. And they would take this stuff, man, and now they start forming different groups, and everybody start, so the power, that became the thing, man. So that became the struggle. That became the battle between the good black folk and the aggressive black folk. So we became predators to each other, and the streets became not a village anymore, but it became a war zone. It was almost like Beirut. It was wild.
I remember being at a club called Jeffrey's when I was there. I think I had to be like 21, 22. And I ran into one of the Tony. It was Dwayne from Tony. Came up in there. Everybody was real cool. I mean, he was real cool. And again, there's another hot artist group that came out of Oakland. What do you know about Tony?
I know. I love them guys, man. We went to school together. We went to junior high and high school together. But I left the high school that they went to, and then I went to Fremont. I went to Castlemont, but then I went to Fremont. Now, at Elmhurst, everybody knew rap. Y'all call him rap. He's known as Raphael Sadiq now, but back then he was just known as Ray. Right. Everybody knew him as Ray Wiggins, but he changed his name to Raphael Sadiq, and he was the lead singer of the Tonys.
Right.
Real good guy, still a good guy. One of the coolest guys in the world, man. I mean, just laid back, real professional, always well spoken, always well dressed, always just a cool dude. He's always been that way. But his hero was Bootsy Collins. See, people don't know that Ray can play any instrument. He can play anything. Mm. You know what I'm saying? He can play, man. He's a genius when it comes to the music. He was like Prince and Michael and everybody rolled into one guy. And so we always knew they were destined for greatness. The Tonys was always destined for greatness, man. Right. Timothy was always good on the drums. Dwayne could play anything, and Dwayne he's a cool guy, you know what I'm saying? They're just some good, down-to-earth, organic brothers that grew up in Oakland and got a taste of that funk, and the funk it's a black and white thing, because you had Tower Power, too, from Oakland. Mm-hmm. Lenny Williams. There's so many legends, man. Larry Graham, Sly and the Family Stone. I mean, there's so much musical history in Oakland.
Yes.
Just legends in the game. But the Tonys, one of the top R&B groups of all time.
Man, and so when I met you a few years later, I think I was leaving Portland at the time to go back to Jacksonville, and you was telling me about this West Coast Hip Hop Award. I'm about to put on this West Coast Hip Hop Award show. We're going to be recognizing people from the West Coast. I said, okay, yeah, brother. Next thing you know, year 1, year 2, year 3, and it never stopped. Talk about the West Coast Hip Hop Award. Talk about that.
Well, it started from the fact that we couldn't get no love. We didn't get love from any other coast. Like the West Coast artists. First of all, they were scared of us, so they really didn't want us around. And so after the Source Awards, Pac, and the Biggie thing, right. They was kind of shunning us. They didn't really want us around, so they really didn't want to honor us, even though we had good music, but we had music that, that wasn't kid friendly, Well, at least I used to call it reality rap, you know what I mean? Right. But as you get older, you can kind of see, the devastating effects that it had on both ends.
Yeah.
But it also tells a true story. And it's weird because people be like, well, man, you glorifying this. I'm like, I'm not glorifying anything. I said, I've lived through it. I've seen the struggles, and I understand that sometimes, you gotta do what you gotta do to win, And some people, took it differently. You know, oh man, they talking about this, they talking about that. I'm like, yes, they are, but that was the reality that they knew.
Right.
They had roaches, you know, they had rats in their house. They, you know what I mean, they didn't have no food in their cabinets. You know what I mean, they was doing whatever it took to survive. And I understood that side of it, but I also understood the other side of the power of what they have to say. So when I started the award show, yeah, you're going to get the red carpet and the glitz and the glamour and all that. But if you actually come to the award show, you see that we talk about solutions and dealing with solutions to the problems that affect our neighborhoods in our communities around the country.
Tell me the cities. Tell me the cities where you've had the West Coast Hip Hop Award show.
We've done. We was in Seattle this year. We was in Oakland last year. We was in Portland the year before that. We was in LA 3 times, and we've been in Portland a few more times. So we've been on. This is our 12th year. So we'll be in Los Angeles again, August 3rd, 2019.
I know you're busy. Tell me a little bit about what's going to go on and the structure of the West Coast Hip Hop Award show this year.
The structure has always been the same. Well, I blend the new ones. I let the new people open up the ones that's up and coming. I give them an opportunity to get on and showcase their talent, and then I bring in the ones that's already kind of got their shine. They're known. You know, they're regional. Some of them are national, and then I have the national, the big guys come on like Hammers and Snoop Dogg's and all those guys in 40s and Sugar T. All of them come. So it's a mixture of everything, and we also include the dancing, the pop locking, and we got all kind of crumpers. We got all kind of different cultural differences that we bring together. But we also do a political thing where we talk about voting rights and getting people out to vote and, you know, taking care of your district and your community and all that kind of stuff. Well, we can't advertise that because people won't come. Once you get real political with them, they get scared. Oh, man, it's a black power. You know, oh, yeah, it is a black power thing. It's black owned. It's ran black owned. It's a black owned company. I've been on it. Ain't no in between. Ain't no nefarious people behind the curtain.
Right.
None of that.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of one of them things. It's hard for a black man to honor another black man. Right. But they don't believe that. So they don't want accolades. They want to get accolades from somebody white. I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
I mean, I can't honor you.
Right.
But they need validation from their slave masters. So I'm changing their minds. I'm doing something like, I'm almost like the new Don Cornelius. Like Don Cornelius, you break around, you do things, and you kind of just do it on your own terms. And so I could have been sold it. They don't offer me all kind of money to take it from me. But I don't want it because I know they're going to destroy it. I know they're going to distort it. I know they're going to do whatever they're going to take to keep people. And that's why I'm not saying the music of today is not good. The beats are good, and just the content is not as good as it used to be. You know, and I say that all the time. I say, man, you guys have to stand for something, believe in something. You know, rapping about getting on surf is not what it is, man. Right. You know, we got communities to build back. We got property to buy. We got different things that we need to do to unite each other. We got to unite our money, unify our communities. You know, start buying up farmland and feeding ourselves and different stuff like that people have been talking about for centuries, for years and years we've been talking about it. But enough talking. It's about action now.
Do you know which media solely addresses issues of concern for African Americans? The Florida Star. Do you know which media carries local, state, national, and international news regarding African Americans? The Florida Star. Do you know the only media that carries a special section for our youth? Now you know. The Florida Star. Northeast Florida's largest, oldest, and most read African American newspaper. Serving since 1951 in more than 200 locations. The Florida Star. News you can use. News you can trust. The people's choice. Striving to make a difference. Subscribe today. Call 766-8834. That's 766-8834. The Florida Star. Speaking truth to power.
Got that right. So if people wanted to support you, they want to do sponsorships, they want to do all that, what do they need to do for the West Coast Hip Hop Award show?
They just need to email me, octaviusmiller@yahoo.com, or hit our website, and my information is on there, WCHHA.com, which is acronyms for West Coast Hip Hop Awards. And just hit me up and email me, Facebook me, Octavius Miller Sr. It'll come up Tavis Miller. Inbox me. I'll get back with you. Instagram is official West Coast Hip Hop Awards. And we here. It's our 12th year. We're gonna keep going strong. And like I said, there's more to it. Like if people can sponsor, the media can come. What I do with media, I want media to have their own booth, do their own thing, and have their own backdrops and do that. So it ain't a whole bunch of people running around. It's organized. We're organized, and it's a beautiful thing. It's like a family reunion. We have big stars come up. We have actors come up. We had Omar Gooding and Megan Good, and Ray J. Everybody come to the awards, man. They just have fun. They know it's all good. We ain't had no problems in 11 years. Not one fight, no shoot, no Suge Knight sightings, none of that. It was all good. It's been all good. It's been all good. He called and he was gonna come too. We ain't got no problem. We love that dude. He did his thing, but he just had the best hand, bro. You had the best hand. Come on, man.
Right.
But anyway, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a united thing where we bring all the cultures together: the graffiti artists, producers, mixers, DJs, dancers, models, actors, actresses, all of them, man, in one night. It's a beautiful night. It's blacknificent.
Right.
I'm telling you.
So before I let you go, you got a book coming out. When is it going to come out, and what you going to cover in your book?
Some of the things that we talked about, I'm gonna cover that. I got Mac Dre. Now Mac Dre, when he was actually at my store recording. He recorded the last song that he ever recorded in my store. He flew to Kansas City the next day and got killed.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of history, that people don't know about. So I'm gonna put a lot of that in the book, and it'll be more detailed, of course, because I got time to talk about it. But I lost a lot. Eazy-E. The Jacka. There's so many people that I lost, man. There's so many these cats that I love, man. It's like, so I lost all these brothers, man. The thing about the West Coast, we have rappers with all kinds. We got DJ Quick, so if you want party music, we got the Scary X, we got Hammer if you want the commercial, popper, dance stuff. We got all that. We had everything here. And a lot of it got taken from us, man, too soon, man, And so that's why I honor everybody that's from the West. I have rappers that come from Florida, rappers that come from Oklahoma and Miami Tech. They all come out. They get to perform too. It's not exclusive to West Coast rappers. It's just that this is our venue to take care of our people and make sure they get honored properly. I would do the Down South Awards in Jackson, Florida if they let me do it.
Right. Hey, let's talk. I know you have mentioned me. You mentioned that to me some years ago, right?
I love Florida, man. I don't like them snakes and them alligators, but everything else is beautiful. Right. Everything else is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got the coastline, man. It's so beautiful down there. But like I said, man, the book is gonna be called The Promoter. I also got my brother's book coming out, Seagram, and his movie. We've been shooting this movie for the last 3 years, so it's almost done. We're shooting up right now in Texas, finishing up in Houston, and everything is gonna be a beautiful situation, man. And I just hope that Black people around the world unite, man. It's so many. It's 43 million or 44 million of us right here in the United States. Man, just imagine if we put $1 in the bank once a week, all 44 million of us.
Right.
Once a week. We got $44 million a week that we're putting in a bank.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We can give ourselves home loans, car loans.
Right.
Man, we can we can stand up overnight with $44 million per week in our own bank. Mm. That we control the interest rates. We ain't gouging ourselves. Everybody's going to eat. That's what we need to do. We need to unite our money and build. We got cities crumbling because they're taking away their infrastructure and their money. So what? We're still spending $4 trillion a year on other people.
Right.
Our buying power is tremendous. But if we spend it on ourselves, we'd be all right overnight.
I can't wait to get your book. This is Opio. I'm speaking to Octavius Miller, the founder of the West Coast Hip Hop Awards. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
All right, I got to get out of here. This is Opio Saccone. I will see you next time on Impact.